I'd describe what I do as kind of folk rock, except I think that there's a few more fuzz pedals in my songs than like a Father John Misty record.
Al Matcott there, whose second album, Fake the Days Away, came out today. More of that interview later in this episode of Mirrorball, but first...
Please come in your most gothest outfit, because I'm feeling like it's going to be some sort of a goth prom for us.
That's Delphi Sorondo, lead singer of the Maggie Pills, and as VOD viewers can see, I am dressed for the goth prom. The Pills have also just released a second LP, Heart's Enduring Lingering Loss. Hell for short. While still very much post-punk, the band has taken some cues from the metal scene for this new release. The full album launches tonight at the Matcott in Fitzroy. I caught up with Delphi at Gemfest and asked what we can expect at the show.
It's going to be a really special one because it's the only time, very likely the only time we're going to play the full album from start to finish with all its weird transitions and everything. Like, it's a very special one for us. Some of the old stuff as well, of course, but yeah, we're just putting a lot of effort into it, and we just want everyone to be just enjoying themselves. And if you are interested in and you like dressing goth, please come in your most gothest outfit, because I'm feeling like it's going to be some sort of a goth prom for us. I've just been preparing for it for so long that I feel like I'm going to prom, you know? And there's a lot of like the romance and the angst of the goth movement in the concept of this album. So yeah, I think a lot of that is something to expect.
You mentioned it's probably going to be the only time that you play it in full with all its transitions. Is that just a choice? You wanted to be the only time, or is there something about that that's really difficult to do that you just don't want to have to try and do a second time?
No, it's just because there is not... we're going to be touring a little bit after, but we didn't organize this time like an album tour. So this is going to be the album show, right? So it's going to be the whole album from start to finish. It's a very special one, like how we recorded it. It has some electronic transitions that we're also going to be using there. So it's very special. And normally, if you go to a show, maybe you think of, okay, so what's going to be the most fitting set for the place where we are and this and that. But in this case, it's just the album. And since we're not going to be doing a lot of headlines after that, we have a lot of shows, but it's likely to be a mix of the new and the old. But this one is going to be like very mindfully prepared to represent what we just released.
And rounding out that interview is a snippet from Velo Bell. A full music video of that song is on YouTube. You can find Hell on streaming platforms, take that how you will, as well as on some really nice coloured vinyl. Back to Al Matcott, whose follow-up to the 2023 release Summer's Coming is out today. Fake the Days Away is an album full of feeling and heart. Its rich soundscapes swelling around you from the very first track, All Night. I caught up with Al earlier today. Firstly, new album, congrats. How's it going?
Pretty good. I mean, I'm at work at the office, so all I know about the album being out is occasionally checking Instagram.
What's important in this album to you then? Like, when you have someone listen back to it, what are you hoping they feel or get from it?
Good question. What am I hoping that people... Well, I hope that it's songs that resonate with people, whether that's the stories or the melodies. I think my last album was way more like, this is an album about global warming, and it's really loud because global warming's fucked, whereas this album's much more kind of individual stories. Some of them are about people, some of them are like, society, man. But there's a bit more variety. So, yeah, there's less of like a, this is what this album is about, and it's more of a collection of songs and stories.
You mentioned global warming being important to you. Why is it that you feel that such a drive in your last album and still in this album?
Well, I work in the renewables industry, and so reading like news about global warming and stuff is just takes up a lot of my time, and therefore takes up a bunch of emotional space because it's cooked. And music is a process of catharsis, so it's unsurprising that a lot of the stuff that I write about has a lot of reflections on that in it. It's it's what kind of keeps me up at night, and as it does many people. It's the world that I kind of exist in my 9 to 5. So it's unsurprising that a lot of the tunes that I write end up being reflections on it in one way or another.
Do you get to take actions on that outside of your music, or is the music where you kind of channel that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked on like advocacy projects through work for it, and I'm going up to the Rising Tide coal blockade in Newcastle at the end of November. So it's outside of music. And outside of work, I'm in the renewables industry and dipping my toes in kind of the direct activism space for it as well.
Can you tell me a bit more about Rising Tide?
Rising Tide are a civil disobedience organisation that sprang up in the last, I guess, like 5-10 years. And their main thing is that over the last 2 years, so I think this is their 3rd year, they block Australia's biggest coal port in Newcastle over a couple of days.
I think I've got images of people in kayaks in my head.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, that's right. So it's like a non-violent, very community, family friendly civil disobedience event, and they've got smaller groups all over the country. They've got the one in Naarm. They meet at series, so I've gone down there a couple of times. But last year they had like 7,000 people at the blockade, and this year I think they're on track to have more than that. And it's good because like the climate movement was doing it had a lot of runs on the board around like 2018, 2019, and then COVID, locked everyone up, and the climate movement has been basically non-existent since.
I find your sound really difficult to kind of place. It kind of occupies a few places in my head, being kind of in my early 30s. It's reminding me a fair bit of some of the more not pop rock, but like some of the more popular rock songs from when I was a teenager, but I see in like Apple Music it's listed as folk rock. How would you describe where you are sonically, I guess?
Halfway between Placebo and Kurt Weill.
Yeah, I see that. That's
yeah. I'm like the same age. Yeah, I've always been very into like rock kind of stuff, and grew up in the era of the bands, like the Strokes and the White Stripes and stuff like that. But I grew up going to folk festivals as well, and so I've just always been like, this song's a rock song, this song's a folk song, and sometimes they're a combination of both. So that's kind of, I describe what I do as kind of folk rock, except I think that there's a few more fuzz pedals in my songs than like a Father John Misty record or whatever.
It's still a gorgeous sound regardless.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm going to hear a very quick clip out of All Night now. Can you tell me about that song?
Yeah, that song is, it's the first track on the album, but that one is inspired by this poet called Alejandra Pizarnik, who I got obsessed with during lockdown. All of her poetry was kind of about like madness and nighttime and like just super emo stuff, and I couldn't sleep a lot during lockdown, and so I was just reading all of her stuff and kind of driving myself insane. So yeah, that song came out of that. It's just inspired by a lot of her poetry.
Before dawn dispelled it all, I used all that drew near. All night I asked
Al Matcott and the Forever Band will launch Fake the Days Away at Stay Gold in Brunswick on the 14th of November. Supports are Alex Hamilton and his band, and Tambourine Jesus. Booking link at almatcott.com, and the album is streaming on platforms today, as well as available from Cheer Squad. And that's all for this 17 October 2025 edition of Mirrorball. It's a little bit rushed, I'm running late for prom. Mirrorball is the Merry Mirrors podcast all about music in Naarm's northern suburbs. The next episode of this podcast should be out in around a week, so be sure to subscribe. I'm Emily Kulich. Have a good night.